Welcome back. Here is my solution to Challenge 1, Chapter 3. How did that go? Let me know in the comments. I hope you were able to tackle some, if not all of it. So that you can follow along with my solution, please pause the video while you 1. Copy the above files from the links provided to Data Chapter 3 folder. 2. Add ch1_checksec to exerciselist.json. Type Challenge, Chapter 3. Pause the video while you complete this. First, let's see this in action and then we will look at the code. Open up Exercises, select Chapter 3, Challenge and click the blue arrow next to Challenge 1, Security Check, Signals. You should see Security Level 4. You do not have access to this feature and a button Increase Security Level. Click the button twice. You should now see Access Granted and how see two buttons Decrease Security Level and Show Message. Click Decrease Security Level. This reverts to the previous message. Click Increase. And now, click Show Message. You see the secret message typed out one character at a time until the entire message is shown. You then see a counter from 5 down to 0. The message and counter are then hidden. And you are left with Decrease Security Level. Click the Decrease Security Level button. You are back to the original message and an Increased button. Click the Increased button. Note that although you have access granted, there is no Show Message button, and this is correct as you only want to show it one time. Next, open another component and switch back to this challenge and you will see that the security level has been reset. That's the $effect cleanup function. Alright, that's the code in action. Now let's look at the code. Okay, as the objective requires a signals file, I will start with this. We want a signal for security level. I'm setting a const to start at level 4 as I'm going to hard code the access level as 6 in the main component. As you know, we need a getter and setter. And as you saw in the exercises, we can have an increment and decrement setter. I also added a reset function, which is another setter, setting the security level back to the const of 4. Okay, let's look at the main component now. Open file ch1_checksec.svelte, chapter 3. We import the signals functions. Declare state for show paragraph, message shown to ensure a message is only shown once, countdown. And the grant access level I set at 6, giving access to the secret message. Now, I have added a few more state as I'm going to display the message typewriter style. This wasn't part of the objective, but a little bonus. Next, the secret message. Now, I like to keep my reactives together and my functions together. First, let's look at reactives. I want to display a message to the user that lets them know what their security level is and if they have access. This was not a requirement, but it's a useful visual aid. So, I am using a $derived for this. Remember, $derived updates immediately. Next, I'm using another $derived for is access granted, which gets the current security level from the signal and compares to the hard-coded grant access level. So, this is true if the increased security level matches the hard-coded level, otherwise it's false. For the third reactive, I am using an $effect to show you another aspect of $effect, and that is the cleanup function. A cleanup function is called before the effect reruns or when the component is destroyed. So, here I want to reset the security level when the component dismounts and use this to call the security reset signal function. Now on to the functions. First, I have function showMessage with timeout. As I wanted to show the typewriter style, I needed this. You could have simply set showParagraph to true. This is activated by the showMessage button. Here is where you set the message shown to true, and that will be used in markup to ensure the message is not shown again. My version needs a couple of resets and the typing interval. Note that the call to set interval will repeatedly call the type message function every 0.1 seconds. The type message function adds one character at a time to the display message until the counter equals message length, at which point it clears the timer for the typewriter effect and then starts the 5-second countdown with a small delay. Next, the start countdown function, I want the countdown to show only when the message is fully displayed. And when the countdown is 0, then we tidy up by clearing that interval and setting show paragraph and show countdown to false, which will hide the paragraph and countdown after it completes. Now on to the markup. First, I am displaying the security access message to the user so they know what the current security level is, prompting them to continue to increase. Note here that in the code I am using message with the round brackets. You may recall that $derived returns a function, but if it is a simple function, svelte will automatically unwrap to give the value. However, in this case it will not. What happens if you don't have the round brackets? Good question. You will see the object rather than the value. So, if suggest, always use the round brackets. Next, we want to conditionally show the increase or decrease buttons depending on the isAccessGranted derived function. Again, I am using the round brackets. Next, we have another conditional render. This time we are only showing the show message button if access is granted and the message has not already been shown. The not show paragraph code is needed to ensure that the show message button is hidden while the message is actively being displayed, avoided repeated triggering. Okay, one more conditional rendering to display the message with a countdown. We only want this if show paragraph is true, set in show message. Remember, the displayed message is built up a character at a time in function type message, and since svelte will re-render conditional rendering if anything changes, this will re-render every time a character is added to displayed message. And then if show countdown is true, set in function start countdown, and countdown is greater than 0, then we want to display the countdown variable. This variable is decreased in the timer in the start countdown function. So, that's my solution. It's more complex than it needs to be to satisfy the objective. If your code is simpler and meets the objective, then well done. Hopefully you handled the signals file without a problem and completed or had a go at the main component. Don't worry if you did not get it. The important thing is to have a go. And if you don't get it the first time, go over the code again. The more you do, the more you learn. Okay, I hope that was an interesting challenge. If you have any comments, suggestions, please leave a comment. A like would be appreciated. A subscribe goes a long way to making more videos. Here is a quick summary of the main points of the solution. 1. Signals, implement getter, increment, decrement, and reset for security level. 2. Reactives, use $derived for access messages and $effect for cleanup on component destruction. 3. Functions, type message for typewriter effect and start countdown to hide the message after 5 seconds. For a markup, conditional rendering for buttons and messages based on access level and state. Are you ready to take on the next challenge? Great! See you in the next video.